It is prime team building time in the NFL. No games being played, but general managers, coaches are forming the rosters that will determine the ceilings and the floors for the teams that we talk about, the Chicago Bears and the Indianapolis Colts, both coming off a very different season. The Colts really starting hot, winning a ton of games, 8-2 after 10 weeks, and then falling off a cliff once Daniel Jones is injured. Chicago Bears having more of a rough start in the first year under Ben Johnson, working their way into winning a playoff game against their rival, the Packers. Now, both teams trying to build on that. We're not going to push this off anymore because Caleb in the second half went nuclear. Started doing stuff. This is why he was the number one pick.
Yeah.
Because he has a talent level that is equal to the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, these mutants that play the quarterback position, and then boom, this is the DJ Moore touchdown. Which, nerding out, I immediately thought, I actually texted you, Ethan, that was the throw, same spot of the field, not exactly the same play, but same player in DJ Moore, that he missed versus the Vikings.
Yeah.
And that was the huge talking point coming out of week one was he's not accurate. He hasn't fixed anything. He's already a bust because he can't hit these wide open throws. Full circle moment here, nails DJ Moore for the game-winning touchdown. And so that, I think, plays into what you're saying, Glenn, where even outside of just a wild card, when narratively this is so big for the Bears and the Bears offense. Because there is proof of concept there. And I think it was tough. I was leaning before this, fire Chris Ballard, keep Shane Steichen. I really do think Steichen's a good coach.
I do too.
Ballard has not been as great in drafting, trading, acquiring quarterbacks, which I think has held Steichen back. But then you think when you're hiring a GM, they want to bring in their own coach, right? It's really tough to say, hey, you have to come in, work with this guy that you probably don't know. That's a recipe to just fire the coach after one season. 100%. So I think I do. Again, we'll analyze it. I'm going to go into all the draft picks, trades, everything like that as we do our autopsy episode. But I think you do have to stick one more year at least with these two, see where it takes you.
Exactly.
The defense, I think, is the really big part. We will get to the offense because there was just so many crazy plays, right? Between Caleb, Loveland, it was pretty much all the passing game in that second half. But the defense was causing Ben Johnson to go for it on his own 32-yard line. That's how bad it had gotten. And in the second half, they finally start getting some pressure and really making Jordan Love uncomfortable in a way that he wasn't at all in the first half. I love, it was stuff that Ethan, we hit on is, hey, you don't have the personnel to get pressure with four.
Right.
And in the first half, they didn't blitz a lot. They had one pressure on 15 dropbacks. That you cannot do that against any offense, but especially the Packers, where Love can just stand back there, throw bombs. This is a team in the Packers that also can score points in bunches. And then they started blitzing, they played less man-to-man, and they actually got pressure. And so that is just something I'm looking at where, hey, Dennis Allen, you've seen it now for the whole season. This is not a defense where you get to just, we have a Myles Garrett, a Micah Parsons, we're just going to let it rock and play coverage. You're going to have to take risks and try and get turnovers. We are going to the Bears-Lions Week 18 game in Soldier Field.
Can't wait.
I thought to myself, I don't have any Bears gear. And Ethan was nice enough. He was like, hey, I got a hat. I can take care of you. We got this. I go, okay. But then I was like, hey, I'm in here. I'm not from Illinois. I'm not from Champaign at all. As I go to different stations, I want to get different mementos to remember my time. But I want a sports flair because that's really what I love. So I went to Rally House. We're going to go to Cam 4 here so everybody can see everything. Because we got...
Dude, wait a minute. When did you get this?
I got this on New Year's Eve.
Oh, my goodness, dude.
To rock to the game, rock for the episode.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't be biased, right? I got the Anthony Richardson jersey. We are a Colts and Bears podcast.
That is fire.
And so we're rocking the Caleb Williams.
Oh, my gosh.
Jersey.
I'm jealous. I'm very jealous.
I will say, so shout out Rally House because they have some amazing stuff for Illinois.
This is Midwest Mashup.
Welcome inside the WCIA 3+ studios here in Champaign, Illinois. My name is Tyler Hill, as always, hosting Midwest Mashup. We're talking the pro sports in Indianapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis. Spoiler alert, it's only going to be Chicago today. We got another Bears blowout episode. They beat the Packers 31-27, and we got a special thing for you today because Ethan Alesha, as always, is with me. Ethan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain after this weekend, obviously. We'll get straight into it, but do have a very special guest today, so let's not
We're not burying the lead here. Sports director Glenn Kinley. Clap it up for Glenn.
Come on.
Let's go, Glenn.
I saw Tyler in the tie. I thought I was underdressed, and I saw Ethan, and I was like, never mind, I look fine.
Right, you're the happy medium, which we really do appreciate here. I was telling Ethan he's got to take this job more seriously. At some point,
it's all fun and games for this guy.
You got to respect the mic, right?
Good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
There you go.
But we had Tristan last week. previewing this Packers game. It was such a big game, big win. I mean, I was trying to think you would go back to 2018, maybe even 2006, that Super Bowl run, just in terms of how much this means to the Chicago fan base. I don't know where you stand on that, Glenn.
I think
We'll start with the Bears offense versus the Green Bay defense. There are a couple stats that I think really paint the picture of what needs to happen in this game. First is from Aaron Lemming on Twitter. It should be noted that after taking 68 sacks in 2024, Caleb Williams was sacked just 24 times in 17 games. He cut his sack rate by 65%
Unbelievable.
in 1 year. So big credit to Caleb there. And that's going to be big because in both games against Green Bay this season, the pressure rate was around 40%. It was a little under 40% for the second game and a little over for the first game. So he's going to have to continue to avoid sacks, get the ball out quick, and not take those negative plays.
From WCIA 3 Plus. With Ethan Holesha and Tyler Hill, this is Midwest Mashup.
Welcome inside the WCIA 3 Plus studios here in Champaign, Illinois. My name is Tyler Hill, as always, hosting Midwest Mashup. We're talking the pro sports in Indianapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis. Spoiler alert, it's only going to be Chicago today. We got another Bears blowout episode. They beat the Packers 31-27, and we got a special thing for you today because Ethan Holesha, as always, is with me. Ethan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain after this weekend. Obviously, we'll get straight into it, but we do have a very special guest today, so let's not.
We're not burying the lead here. Sports director Glenn Kinley, clap it up for Glenn.
come on.
Let's go, Glenn.
I saw Tyler in the tie. I thought I was underdressed, and I saw Ethan, and I was like, never mind, I look fine.
Right, you're the happy medium, which we really do appreciate here. I was telling Ethan he's got to take his job more seriously. At some point,
It's
you
all
gotta
fun and games for this
you
guy.
got to respect the mic, right?
Good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
There you go.
But we had Tristan last week previewing this Packers game. It was such a big game, big win. I mean, I was trying to think you would go back to 2018, maybe even 2006, that Super Bowl run, just in terms of how much this means to the Chicago fan base. I don't know where you stand on that, Glenn.
I think it also means more than just like the playoff win, right? And so like obviously they won the playoff game, like that's huge, and they hadn't done that in a while. And so there's the significance of, hey, the Bears won a playoff game finally, but then you also factor in like it is year 2 of the number 1 overall pick quarterback who you're like waiting to see like is this finally we finally have a quarterback. It's year 1 of a new head coach, and like you got a somewhat young core. Not that there's not veterans on this team, but like it's more to me than just, hey, they won a playoff game. It's and they did it against the Packers. Like there's so many variables in this that make it bigger than just cool, you won a wild card round game. You know, like it just feels like, and I guess time will tell on if it actually is or if it was, flash and pan, but it feels like a franchise shift. And this was like I guess you could say the cherry on top of that. The season that it's been.
And it did not feel like that in the first half.
No, and Glenn, obviously
Gosh.
we watched this game together, so we kind of experienced all the emotions. I want you to tell me when you thought this game was over, and then I guess on the other end, when you thought they were just back in it and there was a fighting chance.
So I'm trying to think. I think 21-3 at halftime. I think the Bears had the ball shortly before halftime, and they were I think they were down 21-3. Yeah, because then Packers ended up missing the field goal that would have made it 24-3.
Yep.
So Bears had the ball down 21-3, and I told Ethan, I was like, they need points right here. 21-10, get a stop. Then you have to get a stop out of halftime. But like 21-10, like, okay, we're in it. But I'm thinking if they don't score right here and it's 21-3 or worse at halftime, it's over, right? And they don't score there. And then really Packers should have got points before the half. So that it's 21-3 at halftime. Packers get the ball. Ethan and I were watching at a sports restaurant bar, I guess you could say, and literally told him, I was like, all right, if the Packers score on this first drive out of halftime, like I'm leaving. Like we're
and
heading
that was
out.
the fan base. I was looking on Twitter. I was watching this at home, and it was people posting, "This is who needs to get cut off of the roster from the defensive players. We don't
fire
need
this guy at halftime.
Yeah, Dennis Allen.
Dennis
We don't
Allen.
want you back after this." Like that was the mood of Chicago fans. Is this game's over? I'm already looking towards the offseason.
Which I am also an advocate for like in-game, like whether it's tweets or text messages or what you say to your buddies shouldn't count because you just get to be
just
during
let
the
it
game.
fly.
You get
Caught
to
up
be
in the heat of
emotional.
the moment.
2 days after the game, if you're still talking crazy, it's like, dude, this is a bad take. But hey, second quarter, you're down 21-3. You get to say some crazy stuff and you get a longer leash. That's my take, at least.
Yeah, and the defense, I think, is the really big part. We will get to the offense because there was just so many crazy plays, right? Between Caleb, Loveland, like it was pretty much all the passing game in that second half. But the defense was causing Ben Johnson to go for it on his own 32-yard line. Like, that's how bad it had gotten. And in the second half, they finally start getting some pressure and really making Jordan Love uncomfortable in a way that he wasn't at all in the first half.
Yeah, it was crazy to see, honestly. I don't know what was said at halftime, but I mean the defense couldn't stop anything in the first half, and they were pretty much nails outside of that Matthew Golden touchdown, which should have been a tackle earlier on that play, but I don't know, man. It's just that really kept us in the game. Obviously, we'll give our flowers to Caleb. The offense put up 25 points in the fourth quarter, which is just ridiculous. But the defense is really what allowed the Bears to, even on some of those first drives in the second half when they weren't getting in the end zone, Caleb throws that pick.
Yeah.
The defense kept them in this game.
It was a full 180 for the first half. And I feel like, you guys can correct me if you disagree, but I feel like I knew the offense could do it. Like, I've seen the offense do it enough times where they had 3 points at halftime and I wasn't like, okay, the offense can't score, won't score. Like, I knew the offense could flip that script, but I didn't think the defense was going to get a stop. I mean, it was like a complete 180 to where I almost, like, what was said at halftime versus, like, what, did they, like, discover something on film late in that second quarter? Like, it was just completely mind-boggling.
Yeah.
The complete opposite that we saw. And again, it's like, I've been throughout this season, which I guess is a testament to how far the Bears have come. My brain has been accustomed to, like, Caleb and the offense can do this, which is crazy because he didn't used to ever think that.
Yeah.
Right.
But the defense, the 49ers game, and even like go back to like the Cowboys game earlier in the year where both defenses looked bad, I think. And it was just like, okay, they can't get a stop. And then second half, the Packers have first three drives of the second half had 1 first down total. It was
a perfect storm because if they, even on those drives, get 1 or 2 first downs each, there's not enough clock left.
Yeah, right.
And I love, it was stuff that Ethan, we hit on is, hey, you don't have the personnel to get pressure with 4.
Right.
And
Yeah.
in the first half, they didn't blitz a lot. They had 1 pressure on 15 dropbacks. That you cannot do that against any offense, but especially the Packers, where Love can just stand back there, throw bombs. This is a team in the Packers that also can score points in bunches. And then they started blitzing. They played less man-to-man, and they actually got pressure. And so that is just something I'm looking at where, like, hey, Dennis Allen, like, you've seen it now for the whole season. This is not a defense where you get to just, we have a Myles Garrett on Micah Parsons. We're just going to let it rock and play coverage. You're going to have to take risks and try and get turnovers.
Yeah, and a guy like Sweat, I mean, Ben Johnson's credited him with stepping up pretty much since the bye week, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, he was really buzzing in the second half, and that made the difference, but he's not a game wrecker like a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett. So with that being said, I mean, honestly, even not sacking Jordan Love in this game a whole lot, he was sacked once, but just putting that pressure on him. And it's like we saw the Bears getting burned on crosser routes against the Lions. When Jordan Love is back there, like, and he has time, he can just wait for his receivers to get open if he's not being pressured. Like, that's the bottom line.
And a lot of those receivers, especially Christian Watson, it's the speed, and he can run away.
Yeah,
from
they're going to
guys.
get open at some point.
Exactly.
Especially the Bears DBs have been like good at times, but just inconsistent. And so the asking those guys to guard Romeo Doubs for 8 seconds it's not going to happen. At least not consistently.
Not at all. And then we're not going to stop. We're not going to push this off anymore because Caleb in the second half went nuclear. Like, started doing stuff. This is why he was the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Because he has a talent level that is equal to the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, these mutants that play the quarterback position, and then boom, this is the DJ Moore touchdown. Which, nerding out, like, I immediately thought, I actually texted you, Ethan, that was the throw, same spot of the field, not exactly the same play, but same player in DJ Moore, that he missed versus the Vikings.
Yeah.
And that was the huge talking point coming out of week 1 was he's not accurate. He hasn't fixed anything. He's already a bust because he can't hit these wide open throws. Full circle moment here, nails DJ Moore for the game-winning touchdown. And so that, I think, plays into what you're saying, Glenn, where even outside of just a wild card, when narratively this is so big for the Bears and the Bears offense.
It was electric. I mean, it wasn't... The Packers had, like, some mistakes. Don't get me wrong. They had, like, the delay of game coming out of the timeout. But it also wasn't, like, not everything went perfectly for the Bears.
No.
And it didn't feel to me like the Packers completely gave it away. I guess you could say they did because they couldn't score in the second half. But like the fumble, the big man fumble for the Packers, and then the ball ended up rolling away and out of bounds. If the Bears get that, I feel like you could say, okay, the Packers gave this away. But it felt like the Bears came back. Not the Packers had to shoot themselves in the foot a little bit for that comeback to be capable or possible.
Right.
But it felt like the Bears actually did it and Caleb actually did it. And then like you factor in a rookie tight end, right? That was like Caleb's probably the player of the game, but if he wasn't, then it was Colston Loveland.
Yeah.
And so it was like the off and that throw from Caleb. The throw to
Adunze?
Rome.
it was Rome.
Yep.
Yeah, the one that we showed the picture
4th
of
and 8, yep.
was obviously the one most talked about earlier. Early in the third quarter, they only ended up getting a field goal out of this drive, so it wasn't as much talked about, nor should it have been, just because of the moment and how much time was left. But he made a third down throw to Loveland,
Yes.
similar throw, like on the run and down the sideline, and it was almost as incredible. I won't say it was as incredible, but it was the throw itself. Obviously, it wasn't as big of a moment, but it was a big time throw. Like if he can get more consistent, because like he's just like that's kind of what we're at right now. He's like electric, and then other times he's not great.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? He's been electric when it has mattered most. So
Now, PFF had him with 6 big-time throws on the game.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody tweet out, I forget who it was, so forgive me, I'm stealing content here. But that's more than Patrick Mahomes has in any of the Super Bowl runs he's made in his playoff games. Like, he is doing things that just they haven't been seen before, and that's got to be an awesome feeling, Ethan, to have that as your quarterback.
To chime in, I saw a stat, too, where only 4.2% of Williams' throws were at or behind the line of scrimmage, which is the lowest mark
was shocking.
in any game in the last 5 years for a quarterback that throws 40 passes in a game. Let's just take checkdowns out of his repertoire.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't
just-
need screen passes.
Just allow him to just make these big plays because it seems like for whatever reason that's where he finds success the most.
And that's why they can score points in bunches, right? Is because it's not dinking and dunking. It's Caleb hitting 20-yard pass, 10-yard pass.
Yeah.
These explosive pass plays, you get down the field and you get points in a hurry, which means you're never out of it.
Remiss if we don't credit Ben Johnson, obviously, in some of his play calling. Like I did see, and I'm sure most people who are listening to this already saw it by now, so I'm not breaking down something you're not familiar with, but the fake from Caleb on that touchdown pass for the lead, and somebody broke it down from earlier in the game where they threw that screen pass to Luther, and they had an extra O lineman lined up on that
Darnell
left
Wright,
side to make them think, all right, they got another lineman over here, they're for sure throwing this screen pass, and these guys sold out like they were blocking for the screen pass, and then he was just gone, and Caleb hit that one fake. I mean, that's like, obviously Caleb has to make the play, he made an incredible throw, but that's Ben Johnson's genius, and that's like what the Bears expected to be getting, is that like genius play calling that just puts guys in a blender. And then on top of that, I think the leadership and they said during the coaching search, we want a leader of men. Like they've gotten probably that even better than we knew he was a good play caller. And I think we hoped that he was going to be the best leader that we could possibly find. And I think, I mean, it's year one, but right now it's like both sides are looking pretty good.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for any better, because I think that was the knock of people that were skeptical of Ben Johnson is, he's a guy who's just
never
in
been a
his
head coach.
office, shut in, locked the door. He's not talking to players. He's just drawing up stuff on the whiteboard, and he's great at that, but is he going to be able to connect with the guys he needs to? And I think he's past that with flying colors. I don't know how this year could have gone better for him.
No, it really couldn't have, and I think you hit the nail on the dot there. And talk about a leader of men. I mean, just the locker room videos after the game. I mean,
fired up.
You know, and that's things that all the fans literally look forward to after the game, and it's just the culture that he's brought already in Chicago. And like Glenn said, year one. So who's to say what's going to happen going forward?
Can only hopefully get better from here. Progress is never linear, but man, you just got to expect Caleb's going to get better. The weapons are going to get better because they're all young outside of DJ Moore. Get some defensive draft picks in there.
You
and,
hope so.
And you feel like you're off to the races. It's never a guarantee. Like
my mind is still trained to the Chicago Bears. But they've proven me by the day that this ain't the same old Bears.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be doing this for many years to come in
Fingers
terms
crossed.
of a franchise quarterback, franchise play caller, just a stable organization in the Bears, which you can't say many times during the Bears
definitely
history.
not in our lives.
Glenn, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
This was
appreciate
such a
it.
fun game to break down. We wanted to get your perspective as well. We're going to have a little bit of a weird episode today. And Ethan will tell you about it coming out of the break, but just breaking down, it's going to be just Ethan. Then the back half of this episode is going to be just me. We'll do a mix of some more recap of the game, previewing the playoff game against the Rams, all that and more coming up next. Welcome back into Midwest Mashup, and we're really excited because, as we said at the top of the show, we are not going to be talking March Madness. We don't do college sports on Midwest Mashup. It is just the pro sports in Indianapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis. But that doesn't mean that we don't love brackets.
No. Also, we're still locked in on March Madness.
Oh, don't worry.
Just for the record.
We are locked.
Yeah, we are dialed.
Did Florida get eliminated by Iowa?
Yes.
Maybe. Was I really mad for an hour? Correct.
Perhaps, yeah.
But
People
now
are
I'm
saying.
free.
Yeah.
Now I can just watch and I can tune in and watch teams like the
fair.
Illini and Root. So I guess that's my cope for this March
Yeah,
Madness year.
yeah. But like Tyler said, we're not here to talk about college basketball. That's not our job. So,
Unfortunately.
yeah, that would be sick. But let's get to the food, man.
I was going to say, because I'll
Let's
pull
do
this up again. We got the Zoom going here. So we decided to do a bracket of our favorite game day food. Now, these were the 8 that we were able to pick because this is what I was able to make in a free bracket simulator and
Sick.
have it pulled up.
I think
And
that's a good number, though.
I also think this is a good number because you can start getting niche, and this is where I will also explain it. So, like, for things like pizza or things like nachos or chicken wings, these are just whatever version is your favorite. So
Yep.
instead of doing, hey, we have buffalo wings and barbecue wings and cheese pizza versus pepperoni pizza, it's just all encompassed.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to split hairs there. It's just whatever your favorite type of pizza is, which actually, what is your favorite type of pizza?
Honestly, this is probably unpopular, but I like spinach and mushrooms on pizza.
Dude, you trying to
together.
get healthy with it?
Yeah, it's good. It's pizza. It's still pizza.
It's still pizza.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a sucker for like pepperoni. I even, as I get older, like barbecue chicken, like
Yeah,
stuff like
sneaky
that.
good.
But what about you?
I'm just a pepperoni. I keep it simple. Even I like throwing some bacon on there, and then I guess my one out there thing would be bell peppers. I like the crunch that they add. I think it's a
Yeah,
good
dude.
texture, and then it makes it a little lighter to take. So that's good. I know for me, my favorite is buffalo wings. So just throwing that out there. But as we go through this, whatever you think, same with sliders, right? Whatever your favorite slider small sandwich is, boom, insert it there. Pizza's the 1 seed. I think that's going to be tough to take down as I look at this bracket.
I agree.
Number 2 is going to be chicken wings. Number 3, chips and salsa. 4-5 matchup is nachos and buffalo chicken dip.
I think that's a good matchup.
That's a really good 4-5 matchup. I got to say, buffalo chicken dip is what my wife makes. She is amazing at it. So that's going to be a tough one to.
And I've tried it. For the record, it's fantastic.
Right. This is not just me. A shout out Mia. Then we got 6 for the sliders. Like I said, whatever your favorite small sandwich is. 7 is going to be pigs in a blanket. And 8 veggie platter. I'll be honest here, and we can kind of run through this quick. Pizza's going to win that. We needed. I'd pull up your face. We needed an easy out as the 8 seed, and so. I will
Get
say-
any healthy thing away from me on game day.
I
That
was
is
gonna
not
say,
why we are here.
Grease,
Yes.
fat,
Yeah.
sugar, all great.
Great tasting food.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
I will say a little bit of defense to the veggie platter. It's a nice change up.
Yeah.
If you're having all these fat, you grab a couple things of celery and broccoli and you get that crunch and, your stomach's not just completely crying
Yeah.
against you the rest of the night.
If you're like, wow, I've had an entire pizza and 2 orders of buffalo wings, like, hey, I'll throw in a stick of celery.
right.
A little
it's
reset.
It's the mix in a
It's a
water
balance, right.
of the game day foods here.
Absolutely.
But as I said, I don't think we're going to get much argument here as I select pizza here.
Oh, easily.
As the
Easily.
winner. We'll submit that. Now, I think this is where we can start to get a little bit interesting in terms of some of the things. When we get into chicken wings versus pigs in a blanket, I think chicken wings is the highest ceiling, lowest floor option
Yes.
that we have.
Yeah.
Because when you get a really good chicken wing, fried perfectly, got the crunch on the skin, sauced amazing, where they're not skimping on the sauce. They might even toss it and then give you sauce on the side. That's really tough to beat.
It is.
But you can also get a bad chicken wing.
You can. For sure. A rubbery chicken wing. A not crunchy chicken wing.
Tiny. There's no
or-
meat on it.
Or like I've been to B-dubs before and they just don't like put enough sauce on there or
That is my pet peeve.
oh my like
I'm
like
ordering
if you
a
can
wing.
see the plain wing and there's like spotted with like barbecue or buffalo, I'm like, what are we doing?
The point is for it to have sauce on it.
Yes.
And that you got me fired up. I just don't like B-dubs. I'll throw that out there. I have had just the worst experiences
Fair
trying to
enough.
go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Service bad, food bad, and then they charge you $30 at the end of the night
Yeah,
for
it's just-
10 boneless wings and fries, and I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah, I got
I feel like I got
finessed,
robbed.
dude.
Yeah, exactly. But
With
saying
that being
all that,
said,
this is a very. I'm trying to think what team is chicken wings, high floor, low ceiling, or sorry, high ceiling, low floor.
I guess Illinois.
I was just going to say, I think it's probably Illinois with
Yeah.
3-point shooting, right? Because, I mean, they could just easily hit 15 threes, and you're just probably not going to beat them.
Also, Buffalo wings, like orange, Illinois orange.
I kind of like this.
I see the comps.
I'm going to say that this is the Illinois here. And, you know, I'll put it out there. I'm not a pigs in a blanket guy, so that's my biases out on Front Street. But is there any way that pigs in a blanket takes this matchup?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you would have to have just an awful chicken wing. But I think the odds you get a really good chicken wing are pretty good, especially on a game day.
9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You're taking this.
And like you said, a really like perfect chicken wing can go toe to toe with any other food.
Could
any
go all the way.
food. Yeah, it could go all the way.
Oh my gosh, especially, and then you start loading them up. Now I will say price. We're not factoring price in here as it, but the wing prices are getting out of hand.
Yes.
Restaurants, you got to figure this out. I don't know why I'm paying $20 for 10 wings.
No,
this blows my mind. I don't understand it. Costco wings, though, shout out. They're a good,
They are
economical
good.
way
Yeah.
to make it happen. I'll actually let you take it here. Do we want to move to the chips and salsa division or the buffalo chicken dip nachos?
I think we should do the chips and salsa because I think the buffalo chicken dip nachos might be the closest matchup.
Dude, okay, I'm glad we're in lockstep here. I thought that was a good 5-4
Yes.
matchup because of how close
Perfect.
it was. So as we take a look here, we got chips and salsa in the 3 seed versus sliders. And this is a very contrasting styles type of matchup because chips and salsa, this is the one where because buffalo chicken dip is another type of dip, I went with specifically salsa. So not guac, not, name your favorite dip that you could have there. Just chips and salsa. So it's a very singular thing versus sliders, which is an open category.
Yeah.
Right. This is the 5-out offense that we have right here in this bracket.
So this one's interesting to me because I think slider is a bit of a wild card. Okay, you could have a pulled pork slider, which I love, little coleslaw on there.
And that's the one thing I think when you just say slider, that's what I think of.
Yes, and I've had game day sliders of like ham and cheese, like you throw them
Another
in the oven.
go-to. Yep. We had
and-
that in the Super Bowl, actually, the party we went to.
Yes, and then even burgers. But at the same time, I think chips and salsa is such a team player where it's
Dude, that's a good point.
like you put it out there, everyone's picking at it.
Yes.
And like you could have a slider and a half. You're like, am I getting full right now on game day? Where it's like chips and salsa, I could literally down an entire like family size bag and a whole salsa if I wanted to. So for me personally, I do love a good slider, but I just think chips and salsa is so versatile. Like if you're having people
Yes.
over, or if you're going somewhere, you bring chips and salsa, you might be the star of the party.
You're the hit for sure.
Yeah.
It's a nice, safe play, too. Who doesn't like chips and salsa? And the other thing I was thinking about, as you were saying, you can pick at it. You really can pick at chips and salsa all night.
All night.
That's the type of thing where even if you're 3 hours in, you can still get chips and salsa and it's good. I don't think you can say the same about a slider,
No.
whereas it's amazing fresh out of the oven, right? The whatever meat you have is hot, the cheese melted on, the sauce is it's all mixing together. I mean, I said 3 hours for chips and salsa. You get an hour away from that, and I think sliders are just the potential drops.
Dude.
Right? It drops off a cliff.
You do not want a sad cold slider. And when you reheat something like that, it's not the same. Let's be honest.
it's not. It's not.
Fresh out of the oven when it's got, the golden bun or whatever, it's fantastic. But like you said, this is a chips and salsa can play the 48 minutes in an NBA game.
No, for sure.
You might get some Wemby minutes out of the sliders when he's coming back from injury. I'm just making some comparisons
No,
here.
I like it. And I think we'll stick with that. I mean, if we're looking at March Madness teams when we're talking about chips and salsa, I feel like that's St. John's, right? When you're talking about intense the whole
Excuse
time,
me.
they're pressing
I was
48
going to say
minutes.
Houston, like maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
you know?
I'm good with that. If you want to make them Houston as we stick with the Illini region there, because I think that they're on top of you all night. You never come away from watching Houston being like, I kind of didn't like that game. They're aesthetically pleasing, and I think it's the same with the chips and salsa. So all that being said, as I click back over here, we are gonna go with chips and salsa
Let's do it.
as the winner. I don't think much debate there. We're gonna take a quick break.
Yes,
before
'cause
we
this
have
matchup's nuts.
The matchup: nachos versus buffalo chicken dip,
Yeah,
coming
man.
right after the break.